But this year,
So
you had a tag that you notched
I did have a tag that I notched.
before rifle season opened.
Yeah, I got it done like 1 week prior. So it would have been
About a week and a half
We opened
ago.
up Saturday, and I arrowed a buck on the Sunday prior. So whatever that is.
About a week and a half ago.
All right now.
All right, Patrick, give us a lowdown
So
on
let me
this
give you
thing.
a little bit of that story. So actually, so this deer meant a lot to me. So kind of a backstory to set up the story is 10/14 of 2020, which anybody that works at Rogers Sporting Goods and then a lot of customers that are longtime friends of the store will know this person. But that was the day that we lost our good friend Rodney Fogelson, who was the archery manager. And he'd been there for a long time too. So that was a tough season for everybody, going in like right into prime bow hunting and the hunting season. And, we lost a good friend and a great guy. So a lot of people knew who he was, and a good friend. So every fall, like he would always come down, he was all hopped up and he'd be doing soil testing and different things and talking to me about, deer that he had seen or, everybody shares that info, right? You just get excited. So I had, when I went out that season, so that was 4 seasons ago, 3 years ago, but 4 hunting seasons. I took one of my arrows, wrote his name on it, and then the day that he passed away. So, and I have hunted with that arrow, bow hunting, ever since. Every time I go out, that's the arrow that I put in to use. And I'm not super picky, but, I've shot plenty of deer, so, I'm not super picky, but for me, if it gets me excited, like when I see it and I'm like, you get a feeling when a deer walks by, like, if you want to take it or not. So, and I'm sitting up at like the back of our property a little bit. It's to kind of sit up where I'm hunting, but I'm hunting in a timber plot where I took this deer. Sits way up on a bluff on a hillside. It's like the highest elevation of the property that we hunt on. And it's like a corridor for all these deer to funnel through. Probably because they can see everything since they're up top, walking that shelf up there. So I'm at the very back of the property hunting up there. The wife, Sonia, a lot of people know her, so she's hunting another part of the farm. And then my brother-in-law was out there as well. So like early on in the evening, so the time change had already happened.
Yep.
Which I was joking. So we're in a group text, and I text Sonia, I hope the deer realize the time change so they start moving earlier, because, right?
It's like not
that,
how it works, Patrick.
Because that last hour, like I always say, is the magic hour.
Yeah.
And so, but like at 3:34, like a small buck came in from my left, like way down in this bottom, and he's walking up to me. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. And I was calm because I knew it wasn't one I was going to take. So I'm like wanting to get pictures and film a little bit on my phone. And he gets to like 50 yards and stops. And I'm like, oh, he must be nervous or something. No, he was tired. And so he just laid down and bedded behind a tree for maybe 20, 30 minutes. And then, which is awesome. I'm like, oh, I got a live decoy. So it's perfect.
Yeah.
And so then he gets up and leaves, and like we're getting to 5, and in the timber, like then it was like right around 5:30, basically you couldn't see anymore, especially in timber. It gets just dark earlier. So, you're basically 5 to 10 minutes earlier than if you're hunting a field, you can't see. So I'm sitting there and I rattle, I like to rattle for sure. And I'll rattle once every 45 minutes, and I'll either do 30 seconds. Sometimes I'll do a minute or two, just depends. Sometimes I get real loud. Sometimes I'll do soft rattling with a few grunts and stuff. So I do one of my rattling sequences. About 2 minutes go by. I look down the same area that little buck came from, and I see a deer walk, and I pull up my binos, and I'm like, definitely a shooter. but he was heading, kind of crossing my face, and he was going to go to the neighbor's property where the timber connects up on this bluff. So I let out 2 deep grunts and immediately stops, and it's perfect when they do it right. The excitement of knowing they came in because of your call. Like working mallards.
Yeah.
When you get them to finish because you know,
or when
maybe
they're flying away and then they turn.
You turn them because of your calling.
Yeah.
Like, oh.
Yeah.
It's so cool. Or calling in a gobbler.
It's like commanding wildlife. That's why it's cool.
Or calling in an elk and getting that bull, within archery range. So a couple grunts, he turns, and I can't see down the bottom of this steep cliff that he's got to come up. I'm like, he's going to show up somewhere. So I stand up. I'm left-handed, so I have to turn and face the tree. Little smaller platform, but I was comfortable with it. And sure enough, he appears right there, just out of the trees, and he stops at 10 yards, and I don't know why, but they just know something's up. And he's just staring at me for like 30 seconds. And I'm like, please just put your head down and
do you have your bow drawn yet?
Nope, not yet. And as soon as he turns his head and goes to turn to walk away, I draw back, which was perfect, and it didn't take long to settle in on him. And it was basically instantaneous, and he was kind of quartering away, so shot a little farther back, kind of focused on where the arrow would end up opposite side, and ended up the broadhead was just sticking out his opposite shoulder. So, I got it all. And then he ran maybe 50 yards and stood there and piled up. So, and I was just like elated. And then I'm like, I got to find that arrow.
Oh yeah.
So I finally got to shoot the arrow that I had saved, in memory of
did
Rodney.
It pass all the way through?
So not all the way through. So a little bit of it broke off. The broadhead, like most of the arrow, 3/4 of it, a little bit broke off, and then the broadhead was stuck in the opposite shoulder. So I was able to find the arrow, so I can keep that. Probably make sure it stays bloody.
There you go.
I don't want to clean it up. You can see the name on it still, and in the day he passed away, and I'll get a Euro mount, and put it on there. So I was like, super cool. And then the hard work started. Because I was way back at the end of the property, down in this valley, and I'm fluffy and out of shape. So
yeah,
I'm calling everybody. Luckily Sonia was there, and my brother-in-law Chris, and then my father-in-law Tim, and they all showed up. And I'm like, every 10 steps, I'm hunched over a log or the fence, just So shout out to Chris. He did a lot of the work. And Sonia was carrying my backpack so I could help pull when I could. And Tim was there, and he helped me when we were, getting it gutted out and stuff. And man, it was just like the perfect, and it happens so quick.
Always does.
It always seems like it happens quick. It never happens when you want it to happen. Like the deer never shows up in the direction you're looking when you're looking that way.
Yep. You just turn your head
I'll
and they're
check
there.
the text, or I take a drink, or I've got my binos up, I'm looking over here, and as soon as you turn your head, there's like a deer standing there looking at you. You just never know. So, but that deer read the script, and so it was awesome. It meant a lot to me. So it was super cool. And so that was exciting. But we've seen some deer. It's been, a good season so far. One, just getting out there. Again, it's kind of been abnormally warm this year from Missouri.
It's been very warm.
Which I've had it warmer than this before. I've had it where you got to hunt in a T-shirt, before, and very rarely have I ever had like a snow on the ground. I think I remember once a dusting in the last 10 years where I've had dusting on there. That's always fun because it's easier to track a blood trail.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So that makes it easier, but, good weather for just getting out there.